So Scott Purcell with Blackland Prairie Bees here, and I am now helping Colter.
Yeah, Colter Williamson. I've had this hive about a year and a half,
Yeah.
and Scott's showing me the ropes today.
Yeah. So it's a Langstroth-based horizontal hive. So a little different than the lay-ins that I use, but a lot of the management techniques are going to be more like what I do than what typical Langstroth beekeepers will do, because we're not putting supers away. We're just rearranging frames. We might pull some frames depending on what we find. We want to get them ready for winter. So come on around here. We're going to work from the back, and I'll let you undo the strap on that side. Just pull it. There we go. Okay.
Just lift it off.
Yeah, now they may. Okay. Looks like they have propylized it down pretty good. So I'll let you hold the smoker.
Okay.
And I'm just going to loosen it a little bit with the hive tool. And now there's not any other.
No, just the two.
Clasp. There we go. So that softened it up. All right. Just take this and we'll lay that aside for a little bit. Okay. That is called burr comb. And they're just trying to make use of all the space they've got.
That's good or bad?
It just means they filled this.
Okay.
Now this, just right off the bat, I'm going to observe some things.
Yeah.
Notice we don't see a lot of bees.
Right. Okay.
We do still see some nectar that was in cells that were the burr comb. But I see some ants, which you don't usually find in the main body of the hive.
Okay.
Now, we've also got this little bits of wax detritus. It's possible, I believe they've been robbed out. And if that's the case, these bees are not your bees. They're trying to take the honey and run.
Yeah, okay.
So we're going to start at this end.
I can set this down.
So look at, yeah, you go ahead and set that down.
Okay.
See how all of these are uncapped and they look chewed?
Yeah.
So that is typical robbing behavior.
Okay.
So let me prepare you with some good news for what I expect is ultimately going to be some bad news as well.
Yeah.
The good news is you have some frames that are nicely built out that will give you a great head start if you basically end up starting over next year.
Okay.
All right. So another robbed out frame. There's nothing there.
What is the indication when it starts getting robbed?
You'll see a lot of bees coming in and out. So probably the cause is you've got 3 entrances and they're wide.
Yeah.
And they all are fully open.
Okay.
When you get into, especially in the summer, but really almost any time, in a hive like this, I would close 2 of the entrances and just use 1.
Okay.
See all of this. This is the wax that they tore off of the cells.
Gotcha.
Now, if you intend to do anything with beeswax, you can collect that, melt it down, and make something with it. Otherwise, you can just clean it out. Yep, robbed frame, that's empty. I think that's what we're going to find, is that all of these bees, there are just a few, and they're just picking over the remnants, hoping to find another little bit to take home to their hive. And
so does that indicate there's another hive somewhere close?
Well, you know mine are.
Oh, yeah. Oh, so a mile away would be considered fairly close.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that a mile?
Probably
to the pasture? And then I've got the ones
as a crow flies, maybe a little shorter.
I've got the one hive that's closer there at David's.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So what is so dark there? What is that? That's
That
just
is
older?
just it's older comb
Okay.
that they've walked over a lot.
That's right. We talked about old dirty feet.
Okay. So
Oh, sorry.
this has pollen in it. Now what that means is that you can store that away. I'm really kind of, it's been robbed out quite recently, because if it hadn't been, wax moths would probably have come in, laid their eggs, and they would have eaten these frames all, I mean the comb all up. Their larva loves pollen.
There was a bee that was, it looked different than a normal, its body wasn't striped. It was just solid, like
Uh-huh.
dark. What is that?
There is a variety like that one
Yeah.
right there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that is another honeybee. There is a breed of bees called the European dark honeybee that has traits like that.
Okay.
And you know, beekeepers will have all different types of strains of bees. Now,
And the gold is the pollen.
yeah, well, no, not for, it would be for wax moths and small hive beetles. The pollen, okay, see this little track?
Uh-huh.
You have wax moth larvae in here because they've eaten their way across that way and across
Ah,
this way.
okay.
And those webs are like the next generation there. So here's what you want to do. You're going to want, do you have a deep freeze with some space available?
I do have a deep freeze. I can make some space available.
Okay. You would want to freeze all of these frames for about 3 days.
Okay.
And then you would seal them tightly, tightly, tightly. Make sure it's in plastic bags with duct tape. These right now, these are frames in good shape, and they've got lots of pollen. But signs of wax moth means that about 3 days from now, they're going to be a mess.
Gotcha.
And then the next thing, so once they're sealed up, then in the spring, we can get you started again.
Okay.
And I can either show you how to, this was a queen cell.
What is this?
That's a queen cell.
Okay.
It never matured.
And a queen cell is what?
So the only difference between a queen and a worker is good nutrition while that particular larva was young.
Oh, okay.
And so when the workers think a new queen is needed, they'll make one of those cells, and then the queen will lay an egg in that, and the workers will then feed them extra amounts of royal jelly. And the larva that's fed the royal jelly will become a queen. There's another queen cell right there.
Okay.
So they were trying, I don't...
This right here,
the burr-comb?
is that unusual to have a...
No.
Do like that?
They do that to have an easy way to pass through different parts of the
Okay,
hive.
gotcha.
All right, so I'm sorry, man, my friend. It's a total loss for now.
Yeah.
But you've got the resources to start over.
Yeah.
So you're going to find next year that whatever colony you put in here, it's going to grow faster than they did this year.
Okay.
Because they don't have to rebuild all of this as long as you preserve it well.
Yeah.
So let's just let's take that lid. We'll just lay these on the lid.
And lay it across.
Yeah, that's fine. I'll pull those out, and we'll use the lid to transport them back to your place.
Okay.
Now, I discovered last week, because I did not have, you saw all the frames that I had in those buckets.
Yes.
I did not have room to put all of those in a deep freeze.
Okay.
So I did something that I didn't know for sure if it was going to work, but now I think it certainly did. I bought some dry ice, and because I had them in those totes,
Uh-huh.
and they were they had a tightly sealing lid. Okay, let's slide this down this way. I'll go ahead and pick up that last frame and lay it on top. So I put the dry ice in, secured the lid tightly, because I was leaving for the weekend.
Yeah.
And there was nothing else for me to do. And it killed all the bees and all the small hive beetles. And I'm waiting right now. I'm going to inspect all of those in another day or two. I think it hopefully killed the any eggs that were laid there. But I'll look for wax moth or small hive beetles to hatch out in the next few days. And if that didn't happen, then I know that what happened was the carbon dioxide, because it didn't stay cold enough for long enough to kill everything.
Yeah.
But as the dry ice evaporated, it released carbon dioxide, which is heavier than oxygen.
Okay.
So that seal is more or less airtight, but not tight,
yeah.
right? So as the gases expanded inside, it pushed air out, but it pushed the oxygen floating on top of the carbon dioxide out. And so they were just locked up in carbon dioxide. So let's go ahead and we'll just carry this to the truck.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Yeah,
so we got 11.
Might as well, that one, oh, mud daubers. So with that one, you'll scrape that mud off, wash it off, maybe with some water.
Okay.
And then I can give you some beeswax to melt. And if you spread a nice layer of beeswax on that, it'll give us a head start in the spring.
Okay.
The bees will draw it out much faster if it's got a layer of wax than they do otherwise.
Well, I certainly had noticed less bees coming in and out over the last, I would say, for sure month, maybe 2.
Let's see. We're going to leave the lid here. Just unload these here. Yep, it could have been a swarmed.
Them leaving?
Yeah, made a new queen and swarmed. What will sometimes happen is they'll make not one queen, but 6 or 8 or 12. The first queen, the original queen, leaves the with about half to 3/4 of the workers and fly away. The first of the new queens to emerge will likewise fly away and take roughly half of the bees that are left. And then the next queen might do the same.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll do that, and sometimes they'll fight it out until only one is left. But if you get in one of those cascades of queens leaving, and so they'll fight over scraps now.
Yeah.
And there's a small hive beetle on the side. So we can just cover this.
Okay.
And leave it until spring.
Typically, would you scrape this off in between, checking on them or whatever?
Yeah. Okay. Well, not every time, but now that it's empty, I would just, before we put new bees in there, I'd just scrape it all. Go ahead and strap it down on that side in case the wind catches you. All right. Well, I think that's all for the video. Next spring, we'll probably record me helping him get this this hive up and running again.
Hey, that'd be awesome. Absolutely.